new series of headliners. Spring is in the air, and the great news is we're back on the air for the next 12 weeks. So, pencils poised for combat, our team captains, Daily Express chief feature writer Philippa Kennedy, and that doyen of diarists, the Daily Mail's Nigel Debster. Nigel. Who are your star reporters tonight?
Well, I'm welcoming the divinely voiced Barbara Dickson, and of course, no stranger to the headlines, Terry Marsh.
Philippa, your news team.
Well, I've got that legendary newsmaker from Knotty Ash, Ken Dodd, and reporting from News at 10, Teddington tonight, Carol Barnes.
Right, let's get the first edition away, and we start with Faces of the Year. Philippa, ladies first. Coming up, half a dozen famous faces who made the headlines in 1980. A point for each correct answer, so let's see how many your team can put a name to, and remember, you can confirm. There you go, Philippa. How many have you come up with? Number one?
The first one was Paul McCartney.
Paul McCartney. And the group?
Wings.
Wings, yes, yes.
The second one was the boxer. Yeah. The second one was a boxer.
He was. Terry Marsh knows him. Number
McGuigan. No. We'll come back to that. The
Number
third
three.
one was Ian McGregor on his way to meet Arthur
That's right.
Scargill. with his tin
Scargill's
hat on.
mate, yes. And number four?
Lady Antonia Fraser.
Correct. Five?
Lord
Carrington. Lord Carrington. And six?
Robin Cousins.
The skater, indeed. I'll give you one last chance for number two, the boxer. No. Nigel? Terry?
The genius has said it, the boxer. Alan Minter, you told me.
Minter.
Alan Minter, yes.
Did I get half for saying he was a boxer?
Nothing at all. Not a sausage. Nigel, now it's the turn of your team. Coming up, half a dozen headliners from 1981. There you are, Nigel. How many of your team come up with? Number one.
Barbara knows the number one.
Chrissy Hind and the Pretenders.
Yes, indeed. Number two.
James Stewart was number
Yes,
two.
number two. Four.
Garman was number three.
Yes, four.
Four is a difficult one. I think he was...
I was going to have a guess, a footballer.
Yeah, but he's called Colonel.
Colonel. That's, yeah, well, I'll leave that one to you.
Was he a footballer?
Well,
Or
was he a footballer?
Number four. Well,
He looks
yeah.
like a very young Brian Robson.
Yes, yes.
Ah, well done, Terry.
Yeah.
Five, you know, Nigel.
That's the chairman of Mothercare.
Barbara Back.
Yes, Ringo's wife, Barbara Beck. And six.
It's Kenny Everett.
Kenny Everett before he grew up. Absolutely. And at the end of round one, the scores. Philippa, a poor five. Nigel forges ahead with 7 points. Round two, this is where I'm going to show all six of you in turn a headline-making piece of film. Stories on which you have special knowledge, so no conferring, right? You're experts. First, Ken Dodd, for you, comedy, a legendary laughter maker who I reckon goes to your barber.
So do you mean to tell me, Rosie, you're pushing a pram along with this size is an inside? Is our boy 11? 11? The boy pushed his head out. He looks up, he says, am I bothering you, lady?
Marvellous Maxwell. What name does Max give to the character he was playing there?
Professor Wolofsky.
Correct, absolutely right. I'll give you a bonus for that, Ken. Max also played the part of Walter Soper in a popular television series. What was that?
Yes, and he, as well as being a great genius clown, as well as being a great comedian, he's also a great actor. And what he was doing in Crossroads, I'll never know. But he was in Crossroads.
Yes, he was in Crossroads. Barbara Dickson. Barbara Dickson, for your specialist subject, we fly to Las Vegas, an international singer in concert telling us that ain't no way to treat a lady. But which lady?
That ain't no way to treat a lady, no way to treat your baby, no woman, young man. That ain't no way to treat a lady, no way. But maybe it's a way for us to end.
That's Helen Reddy.
I haven't asked yet. Yes, Helen Reddy.
Helen Reddy.
All right, then. For a bonus point, Helen Reddy has only ever had one British top 10 hit, January 1975. Can you name it? Her only British top 10 hit.
The disgrace of it is, I think it's a song that I had on an album of mine 2 years ago, which I pinched from her.
Good girl,
And I can't
good
remember
girl.
what it's called.
Sing it instead.
Something?
Rock and roll radio. Angie Baby.
There you got it, you got it, Angie Bailey. Philippa, the captain's turn now. I'm sending you to a press conference called by Tom Jones to answer some stinging comments made by the Duke of Edinburgh after the Royal Variety Show.
People have told me that the Duke said this and said that, you know. But the thing that that I was annoyed about more than anything else was that that he ran down the whole show, you know. I mean, it doesn't bother me what he thinks of me.
There you are. You could see he wasn't upset there, can't you? The Duke apparently asked him after his performance, "What did you gargle with? Pebbles?" What year did that Royal Variety Show take place? And I'll give you a clue. Tom Jones was 29 at the time. What year was the Royal Variety?
And he must be, gosh, he must be nearly 50 now, I suppose. Would it be?
Do your sums. Quick, quick, quick.
But about 68 or...
Oh, yes, 69 it was.
Oh.
Yes, right.
69.
All right, then. What was Tom's biggest hit in this country for a bonus point?
Well, there were hundreds of them. There was Delilah, and there was What's New Pussycat, and there was Not Unusual, and there's Green Grass of Home, and...
Which one are you going to pick?
Home Anyone from 4.
Which is the biggest hit?
The biggest hit he ever had in Britain. 22 weeks in November 1966.
Green Grass of Home.
No.
Absolutely right, the Green Grass of Home, yes.
I can't put her off tonight. It's terrible.
Nigel Dempster, for you another press conference. Peter Sellers and Liza Minnelli talk to newsmen about their wedding plans and have a right old giggle.
Would you like an official statement?
Peter, no.
Hello,
We're going to be terribly dignified, weren't we?
Yes, we were. Yes.
We were going to be just terrific.
Hello. Well, Bex, it's love time at the Copacabana. Yes, and we're in love. It's frightfully good.
Now, although Peter called that press conference to announce his engagement to Liza, there was one small snag, Nigel. He was still married at the time to his third wife. Who was she?
She was called Miranda. That must be about 1972, I think. Wasn't it?
He can tell you that what park it was. Yes, it was.
No, I was sitting next to them at a restaurant, and my first wife had just left me, and she walked into the restaurant, and I was listening to Peter Sellers proposing to Liza Minnelli at the next table. And the next thing I knew, that my wife had emptied all the cold foods over my head, bashed me on the head. I was taken to hospital, and I'd read the story the next day in the Evening Standard.
You missed the scoop.
How to miss a scoop.
And who was he married to?
Miranda Quarry at the time. I missed my...
But do you know this, Nigel, for a bonus? Liza's first film was actually made in Britain and starred Albert Finney in '68. What was it?
I remember, well, he was a writer called something like Charlie Bubbles.
That's it, Charlie Bubbles. Woohoo! Carol, news from the foreign desk. An optimistic Walter Mondale looks forward to the White House as he carries the Democratic convention. If he only knew.
He exudes the confidence of a man convinced he will be the Democratic nominee. Most speeches end with an invitation.
You're all invited to the inaugural ball.
Famous last words. It was all down Capitol Hill after that, largely because of his choice of presidential running mate. Can you name that politician? Who was his running mate for vice president?
Figaro, something.
No, not at all.
Near enough.
Oh, come on.
Oh, what was her
Good
name?
enough.
All right, give me her first name.
She's called Geraldine.
Geraldine.
Do we get half each?
Ferrara.
1 point each. 1 point each. No bonus though. Terry Marsh will get it all on its own. It's March 1971, Terry, and our Henry Cooper, reflects ruefully the morning after on his scrap with Joe Bugner.
400 people there, and I think 10,000 on the 4 died won, but the referee and about 400 others didn't, so that's it. What can you do?
There you are, Terry. Henry Cooper, still not believing that he'd lost his title to Joe Bugner in one of the most controversial fight decisions in recent years. What was Joe Bugner's original nationality?
Hungarian.
Hungarian he was, yes.
Which is quite funny, really, because when Joe came back and made his, was it 4th or 5th comeback, he was actually in the same gym as me, and I sparred him. And we were just messing around, and I slipped inside a jab and threw a left hook to the body, winded him, and he went on the floor. He didn't really, but everyone seemed to be saying something after the caption. I didn't know what to say, so that's what I said.
Well done.
And besides, he's in Australia, and I don't think he's coming back.
That's right.
Then his wife beat the
Best
hell out
story
of you.
tonight. Terry, a bonus for you. Henry was, of course, European heavyweight champion, but our most recent European heavyweight champion was Frank Bruno. Who did Frank beat to win the title?
Eklund.
That's it. The Swede Anders Eklund. And the scores at the end of round 2. You're dragging your feet, Philippa. 10 points. 10 points for Philippa Kennedy. Nigel forges ahead. 14 points. We'll take a brief break, and here's a headline puzzler for you at home. Why is Shandy, the black cat, putting on his best bib and tucker for lunch? A clue? This is a Chinese puzzle. Any closer? I'll let you know after the break. Welcome back. Well, did you guess what Shandy was about to do? A pound to a Peking duck you didn't.
Use your chopsticks. That's really good.
Actually, the most evil animal story I ever did. I was in Manchester, northern editor of the Daily Mirror, and it was my job to stop the sun in the north. So I got a page 3 bird, the oldest budgie in Britain. Oh, what a sight. We have a picture of it here. It looked like a plucked chicken, didn't it? And I invited the readers. I said, has anyone got an older budgie than this? And the letters poured in. 45,000 letters we had. And they were holding the paper up to the budgie's case saying, have you seen your granddad? Great silence. This is where we meet our headliner of the week. People unknown one day and on the nation's front page the next. I'm going to give each team 4 clues. Get it right on the first clue, 4 points. If you need a second clue, it drops to 3. Then 2 points and 1 point. So on the buzzer for 4 points, here's your first clue. It was a gunpoint drama which started in the air. For 3 points then, another clue. The passenger who had hired a helicopter suddenly pulled the gun on the pilot, Terry.
It was a hijacking at the prison.
Yes, yes.
Where someone near the Midlands, not very far from Market Harbour, I know that.
Not far, yeah. Gartree, does that ring a bell? You got it, Terry Marsh. Gartree Prison, you've guessed it. And our headliner of the week, the pilot of that helicopter, Ian Evans. Well, you thought you were going on a little trip round Leicestershire, did you?
Yes, I did. Didn't quite turn out that way, though, did it?
No. Did you know you were on camera at the time?
No, I had not.
Let's have a look at the film of that. There you are, the daring rescue at Gartree Prison, Leicester. The two, they're going, what's wrong? They can't get in there.
They got hold of the wrong handle. There are 2 handles on that side. They didn't know which one they were at.
And there it goes. How long were you on the ground altogether?
Very short time. They told me it was 21 seconds.
21 seconds. And was the gun pointed at your head the whole time?
Yes.
Was it touching your temple like that?
Yes, after each... In fact, the first thing he did was pull out the sockets for the the RT headsets, which is
The
hard
radio.
to communicate with the rest of the world. He obviously knew enough about what
You
he was
knew
doing.
there was something wrong there.
Well, I turned around. I didn't know what was. I turned around. What's going on? And there was a gun pointing at me.
So you took off from the prison after 21 seconds, and where did you land?
But eventually we found Market Harborough, and he said, "Okay, now take me to the golf course." And I headed off in the general direction which I remembered it to be in, but I couldn't see it. And they were getting very, very excited by this time. I said, "I can't see it, I've got to climb." "No, you can't climb, go on, find it." So then they told me they'd shoot me in the leg if I didn't stop messing them about.
But anyway, they scarpered as soon as you hit the ground.
They did. They handcuffed me to the helicopter, and I was very relieved to see the handcuffs, I can tell you.
Yeah.
It wasn't
Better
until I
a
saw
pair
them.
of handcuffs.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
A last question, Ian. Did they pay their fare?
They did. They certainly did. Something like £700 before they left. Yeah.
Here you are, smart in your
Here I am.
uniform. Ladies and gentlemen, a real high flyer, Ian Evans. Thank you. So after round 3, the score is now, I regret to tell you, Philippa, only 10 points, but Nigel is well ahead with 17 points. Round 4 coming up. This is where you all get a crack at our calendar game. There's the calendar, and as you can see, each month is linked to a different year, and each month relates to a headline-making story. You can confer. First away is Ken Dodd. Choose your month and see if you know what's behind that date.
March.
March 1973.
Apache Princess, Little Feather, refuses the Best Actor award on behalf of Marlon Brando in defense of the American Indian minority.
Ticklish that, Ken. Ticklish, Little Feather.
Yes, yes.
Brando sent her to collect his Oscar there for the film The Godfather. But for which film did he personally collect an Oscar?
He got his Oscar for On the Waterfront.
He did indeed, yes.
Terry wanted to say the famous line.
I could have been a contender, Charlie.
Isn't that wonderful? You've got a great voice, Barbara Dickson, so give me a month.
October.
October 1983. And for Sarah Keyes, it's the end of the affair. Alas, jilted by Tory party chairman and cabinet minister Cecil Parkinson. Now then, can you tell me, when that scandal broke, Cecil Parkinson was, of course, Tory party chairman. What was his ministerial office, Barbara? He was the minister of?
Energy?
No, I fear not. I shall have to offer...
But he had a lot of energy, though.
Sorry, Nigel.
No.
I shall have to offer a bit too much, methinks.
Was he in charge of... Was he in charge of Home Affairs?
Anybody?
Environment?
No, he was the Secretary of State for Trade and Industry. Philippa, how could you? Choose a month. Choose a month.
I'll have January.
January 1971. I'd rather do 10 rounds, Terry, wouldn't you? That spectacular bobsleigh crash took place in Cervinia in Italy, January 1971. It made world headlines because one of the members was a royal. Who was he? What member of the royal family was in that bobsleigh?
Prince William of Gloucester.
Wrong, Nigel.
Well, it looked a bit like Prince Michael of Kent.
It was indeed Prince Michael of Kent. Choose a month, Nigel.
Well, shall we have a cold month like February?
Indeed, February 1973.
At his London residence, Mr. Jeremy Thorpe, leader of the Liberal Party, announces his engagement to Marion, Countess of Harwood.
Happy enough there, but 6 years later, the dark clouds of the Norman Scott affair caused him to resign as MP for the constituency he'd held for 20 years. What was the name of his constituency?
It was somewhere in North Devon, like Barnes.
It was North Devon.
Yeah, come on, it's North Devon. That's enough.
Carol's a news lady. Give me a month, Carol.
Oh, I don't know. May.
May 1986.
And I mean by discipline unity. Unity about a set of principles. Unity are dependent on certain fundamental principles.
The late Lord Shinwell there, celebrating his century, 100 years old. For how many of those 100 years was he a Member of Parliament, an MP? 5 either way.
60.
Wrong. Nigel?
It was more than that. It was 70.
No, it was 41. 41 years.
Fine.
You have no
Honourable
chance.
failure.
You have no chance. Here we are, Terry. Close the round. Give me a month.
Start of the summer, I think. July.
July 1977. England goodbye. Hello, Dubai, says the new desert soccer supremo Don Revie. He's got the job and he'll finish it, which is more you could say for the stadium builders. Look at this. Looks like they're all strikers there. When he resigned as England manager, Terry, the Football Association reacted sharply and slapped a ban on him working in football in England. For how long? Revie banned in England.
My memory serves me correctly, 5 years.
No, I fear not. 10. Anybody? How long was the ban on Revie?
10, was it?
It was 10, yes indeed.
No. Give it to her.
Philippa was in just ahead. Anyway, the scores at the end of round 4 are Philippa, 12 points. Nigel, still well ahead, 19 points. But all is not lost. That score could change dramatically, Philippa, as you know, in the final round of headliners. Points here go to the team first with the news. This is our quick fire on the buzzer time, so let's get on with it. In August 1983, which famous couple bought a Barrett house just off the South Circular Road?
Prince Andrew.
Terry.
Prince Andrew.
Wrong.
Mr. and Mrs. Thatcher.
Carol. Mr. and Mrs. Thatcher in Dulwich. Yes, look at the picture. Was this political leader considering a change of image? Who is he? Who's this? It's
It looks like David
Barbara.
Steele.
You're right, Barbara Dickson. It's David Steele, yes. What was raised after 437 years off the coast of Portsmouth in 1982,
Mary Rose.
Terry?
Mary
The
Rose.
Mary Rose. Look at the picture. Definitely not as secure as the Bank of England. Who owned this Heathrow warehouse, Terry?
Brinksmat.
Brinksmat, absolutely right. Which British-made film won 8 Oscars in the 1983 awards? Carol.
Gandhi.
Gandhi's correct. Look at the pictures. Crew members of the Britannia seen here evacuating British citizens from which strife-torn town? Terry.
Aden.
Aden's correct.
Yeah.
Yes. Hey. Well, at the end of the final round, the score is Philippa. What are you up to? 14 points. I'm sorry about that. Nigel, way ahead. 25 points to 14. My thanks to Terry Marsh and all the others on duty in the newsroom tonight. That's it. The headliners presses will be rolling again next week. See you then. Bye-bye.